welcome. Today I'm here with Alex Taflanidis, who is a professor in our department. Welcome, Alex.
Happy to be here.
So why don't we start with, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, where to start? I was born and raised in Greece. I did my bachelor's and master's studies at Aristotle University of Thessaloniki, and then came to the US to do my PhD and joined Notre Dame in 2008. So I have, the way I like to describe it, I have survived the 15 winters in the Midwest.
Well, and they've been getting easier, because you and I started a couple of years after you, and the first few were definitely rougher than they are now.
Yes, my first winter was by far a shock. It started snowing, I think, in November, and we didn't see the grass maybe until March. After that, it has been way easier.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Anyway, tell me a little bit about your area of expertise and what you like to do research in.
Yeah, so my research falls in the broader category of computational statistics and machine learning for uncertainty quantification. In simple terms, I'm trying to enable scientific discovery and decision making using complex numerical models while addressing all the underlying uncertainties that impact the physical phenomena. Some of this work is looking on things like statistical calibration of models or optimal design under uncertainty, but the majority of my work is looking specifically on natural hazard risk assessment and mitigation. And some part of this work is focusing really on democratizing access to sophisticated tools for emergency response managers and regional planners, so that these people that try to make optimal resource allocation or emergency response decision in the face of natural hazards can benefit a lot from the advanced knowledge and the advanced models that we start having about these natural hazards without really having to have a PhD or really have a detailed knowledge of the underlying models.
Well, I love knowing that a Greek is working on democratization.
Yes.
It feels good to have that. I mean, when you say that, is there any natural hazards in particular that you're talking about, or does this apply to natural hazards as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, in general, these frameworks could in principle be applied to a variety of natural hazards, but I've worked a lot on two of them. One is earthquakes, coming from Greece and then doing my PhD in California. That was a natural hazard that was a key for my PhD studies. But since joining Notre Dame, I have shifted a lot my focus into the resilience of coastal communities, and especially looking at hurricanes and the hazard related to storm surge.
Well, clearly, given everything that's been in the news over the last few years, that's clearly an important area. Do you have any good personal stories relating to your research?
It's hard to find great personal stories if we work on computations, but I can definitely tell you that I never expected that I would be where I am today, working on coastal hazards, especially on hurricanes.
Living in Indiana.
Yeah, living in Indiana, but also, growing up in Greece. But I didn't know exactly what a hurricane is. I've sort of have heard about it, but, I didn't understand the physics. Or even when I was in California, I had, and up to the point where I got my PhD, I had no clue about the underlying physics or about the threat that, especially with climate change, that would be emerging from hurricanes in, the last decade.
Well, yeah, that's pretty cool. But then now we're getting medicanes as well, right? So
Yes.
we're getting these kind of things happening in the Mediterranean. So.
Yes, that's true. Like we've seen a lot of climatological hazards are going to be one of the biggest challenges that we're going to face in the engineering community for improving the resilience of our communities. Floods, storms. Any type of storms, tropical cyclones, extratropical cyclones, hurricanes in the Atlantic or in the Mediterranean.
Wow. So you've been here for 15 years. The department has changed a tremendous amount since you've been here. But is there anything, what would your favorite thing about this particular department be?
I think my favorite thing about this, department and this university is the fact that there is a group of engineers at all the levels. You're talking about a fellow faculty, graduate students, or undergraduates, with a common goal of, protecting vulnerable populations in whatever, context that protection is. For me, it's protecting the vulnerable communities against the coastal hazards. But there is a lot of people in this college that strongly feel about those aspects of engineering of doing good.
Yeah, I would agree very much with that. I think that's a wonderful part of what's going on. So if you could go back in time, right, and meet 22, 23-year-old Alex and give him some advice in terms of career trajectory, things like that, what advice would that be?
It would be the same advice that I give right now to all my students is, focus on your fundamentals and your foundations. Especially in the world that I do my research about, that you try to integrate physics-based models with advanced computational science, statistical tools. Many people view a lot either the models or the tools as black boxes. And what has been really helped me a lot over my career, it's build first your foundations. Don't rush into the application or the problem before you have a really strong foundation on all the sides, both on the physics-based modeling and also on the sort of more applied math statistical computations before moving into the specific applications that you might be interested.
I think that's really good advice, particularly with all the growth in AI and machine learning, where it really can become a dangerous tool.
Yes, and I've seen that danger over and over again, that people either look at the physics models as black boxes, don't really try to understand the underlying physics of the hazard or anything or such, or they look sort of the AI tool as a black box. We don't care what it does, we don't care how it validates, how it overfits, and I've seen mistakes on both sides happening way too frequently.
Yeah, so I would agree with that piece of advice. Solid foundation is a great way to go. Okay, so now let's go in for a quick fire just to find out some fun stuff about you. What do you do for fun?
I like running, so whenever I have time, I enjoy going out for a run.
Is that the same thing you do to relax?
Absolutely, yes. So even though I have my other guilty pleasure for relaxing is watching sports talk shows.
Sports talk shows?
Yeah.
Which sports in particular?
I have a specific talk shows that I got addicted and I keep watching them, and they're gonna switch between the time of the year is. Right now would be NFL and college football.
Okay, very good. I was not expecting that one. What about in terms of music? Do you have any songs that you've heard recently that you particularly like, or do you have a favorite genre of music?
Well, I have multiple genres of music, and my favorite song, it's always going to be an old song, and it changes from time to time. Right now, if you ask me, probably would be Tears of the Dragon by Bruce Dickinson. If you ask me in a month, it could be Wanted Dead or Alive by Bon Jovi. It keeps changing.
So you're hard rock metal kind of?
Well, I'm hard rock metal, but I'm electronic music as well. So I have combined everything while growing up. I grew up with Faithless and
It's funny how many people in our department like that genre of music.
Yeah.
I find it very, very interesting. In terms of books, what kind of books do you like to read? Do you have any recent ones you've read that you'd recommend?
I really enjoy Michael Connelly's Harry Bosch detective series.
Right.
I like the heroes that think on absolutes, so everything matters or nothing matters.
Very, very cool. Favorite sport and team?
That also changes, but going back to my roots, I would say soccer. If you're European, it has to be like soccer is the king of sports. At least it was until I came in the US.
Absolutely.
And the favorite team probably is going to be AAK Athens, my team growing up.
Well, makes sense. Okay, and then finally, how about art? Do you have a favorite artist?
Probably Konstantinos Kavafis, because one of his poems, Ithaca, which is about the importance of the journey and not the destination, is my absolute favorite poem ever.
Well, you're going to have to share that with me because it's not one I'm familiar with and I look forward to reading it. So, any final thoughts before we finish up here?
Final thoughts. Be patient in your journey, as Konstantinos Kavafis says, and about going to Ithaca, and enjoy the journey. It's the journey, not the destination, that matters.
That's a wonderful piece of advice and a great place to end. Thank you very much, Alex. It's
You're
been a
welcome.
pleasure.